Imagine you're a spy in a cyberpunk city, undercover in a hostile environment. The authorities use advanced AI to detect lies by finding patterns in your speech. To stay hidden, you must inject randomness into your answers without blowing your cover. But if you ask someone to pick a random number between 1 and 10, they'll choose low numbers or avoid round numbers or pick significant numbers. It's hardly random. Even simple methods like flipping an imaginary coin won't work when you're under surveillance. Children are worse at this than adults, which is pretty cute. It's hilarious to imagine how they conducted this experiment because how it works is every 2.5 seconds, the computer furiously beeps at the children and they have to say a number. And we all have this subconscious desire to be like, oh, don't say this, don't say the same number, don't say this. You got to pick a new number. But of course, it's hopeless. Uh, Apparently, we have a bias towards the first numbers that we learn, 1, 2, and 3. And weirdly, the researchers did not investigate why 7 was so popular with children, but I mean, I think I also liked 7 as a kid. So the point is, we're not good at guessing random things. We have all sorts of biases that are basically impossible for us to counteract, which is a good life lesson. You have your biases, and you can deal with them or you can ignore them. It's up to you. But back to our spies situation. Instead of trying to think of something random, which is pretty much like trying to not think of a white elephant, you can use the signals that surround you to simulate randomness. And so, one first draft idea you might have is listen to what your interlocutor is saying and pick one word at the end and listen for the word and think of the spelling. If the first letter is in the first half of the alphabet, say A through M, or if it's in the second half of the alphabet, N through Z, that's going to give you your answer. So first half you say yes, second half you say no. The problem is vowels and consonants are not evenly split. So you see in this chart that I made, A, E, and I, they really weigh down the first half of the alphabet. And of course, that's just the bias, the noise in the language. When people speak, they also tend to favor certain words, and that can really skew things, especially in a small sample. If someone says the same word twice in a short conversation, that's already going to interfere with the statistics. So the problem with a single letter cue for randomness is it's not good enough, basically. It's really not going to get you close to a coin flip. So what's the alternative? We do a modification of the letter system. Instead of looking at the first letter, you look at the first letter of two words at the end of the sentence. So here's an example. Um, you're just a tourist in our city. O and C are in different halves of the alphabet. So that gives me a no signal. I say, no, I'm here on business. And conversely, uh, the counter spy asks me, are you staying at a hotel? And I say, oh, AH, same half. Yes, I'm currently staying at a very nice hotel. So that's the system, right? So how is that better than just picking one letter? Isn't that harder? Well, it's a little bit harder, but the fascinating thing is it's actually significantly closer to truly flipping a coin. So here's how the algebra works. Let um, let P be the unknown chance a random word starts in the first half. So suppose the proportion of words where the first letter is in the front half is represented by P. Now, simple probability, the probability that both letters are in the front half is P squared, and the probability that both are in the back half is 1 minus P squared, because when you have two options, they both have to total to 1. Um, So your total probability of answering yes, no matter what the skew for the first half of the alphabet is going to be p squared plus 1 minus p all squared. So why is that better? You could look at the several lines of algebra, but that's a bit verbose for a YouTube video. Or you could just pause the video and take a look at this chart right here. So I'll give you a moment to pause it and look at it before I explain what the key insight is. Okay, so the key insight is that the blue line, which represents the yes probability under the new system, and the gray line, which is that the old system of just, we answer, we're going to have whatever the skew in the languages, that's going to affect the skew of our coin flip. So the blue system actually pulls us towards the red 50-50 line. It smooths out the bias that was there without even having to change our system very much. And so I just thought that was really cool. I don't know why I never learned this in math class or statistics, because it's such a simple, elegant example of probability and simple algebra. And I just thought I would give it a little bit of a sci-fi context. Well, yeah, the great thing is our spy doesn't even need to know how to do the math, or doesn't even need to know why it works. And that's the great thing about a lot of cryptography or code systems like this, is the mathematical properties of the system work no matter who's using them, which can cut both ways, right? We're seeing nowadays, if you don't understand networking or encryption, it can benefit you or it can hurt you, but you can use it either way. So yeah, with a bit of practice, our spy can recognize both halves, doesn't have to do any calculations, and you can simulate this kind of randomness. I don't know, maybe one day we'll be in an apocalyptic scenario and we'll have to remember these little tricks. We won't have our cell phones, or our cell phones will cost 5 mega credits a day, and we'll be too poor or something. um, but yeah. Also, a fun fact, this trick, I'll link it in the description. It comes from a psychology study that has nothing to do with spying. It's actually a study where they got university students to lie to each other to test whether you can really trust basically job interviews or unstructured interviews. And long story short, job interviews are not very good at judging people. But that's a whole nother study. Um, yeah, so, oh, by the way, I got ChatGPT to make this picture of this like detective guy and this robot. It seems to have like really borrowed heavily from Blade Runner and like the Voight Kampf test. But I think ChatGPT confused Indiana Jones character in Indiana Jones and the Blade Runner guy. So love it when those little mashups happen with AI. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little algebra hack and spy story. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Will you use this trick on your covert mission? Bye for now.